Sorry,
disturb me.
I was breathing over your shoulder, and I want to apologize. I don't have a really good sense of spatial relation, house of spatial synesthesia. It's really hard for me sometimes to really
They say the
understand
breath
what I'm
over the show.
doing.
She's a showgirl with show tunes now, Liza Minnelli. Put the burrito in the bag. I'll be leaving.
Oh my gosh.
I just had a quesadilla to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we would like to welcome the one and only Rivkah Reyes.
Hello, I'm Rivkah. Good to see y'all.
It's amazing to see you. Thank you so much. We're so happy to have you here.
Thanks. I'm blessed to be here.
Yay! And first, I have to compliment you. I love your background. Like, are these things made, purchased? Where did you get the stuff that you have behind you? It's really neat.
Yeah, it's a collection of work by friends, things that I picked up at thrift stores, things that were gifted to me. This lip rug situation behind me was made by my friend Emily, who does embroidery hoops as well. She's a drag queen, and she does a lot of drag race themed things. So I have a little drag race embroidery hoop as well. And yeah, I just love collecting artwork and showcasing it in my little Zoom background, you know.
Yes, no, it looks amazing. So
organic Zoom backgrounds are like the best. You can't, no green screen there.
Yes, definitely.
Off the top, I just wanted to compliment you because as I was going through your social media, I was watching your duet on TikTok for the song Helpless from Hamilton. And
oh, wow.
Oh my God, did you kill it? That was beautiful. So I think we just need to take a moment to praise the legend that is Lin-Manuel Miranda for everything that he has gifted us. I mean,
love Lin-Manuel. Have you seen Encanto?
I have sadly not seen it yet.
You have to get on it. It's honestly, my partner has watched it 7 times, and 4 out of those 7 times I was watching it with her. I'm obsessed with it. Yeah, yesterday we were on set, and like somebody started singing "We Don't Talk About Bruno," and it then ended up being like 12 of us all singing the entire song while production was just like, okay, like, come on, let's get back to work, everyone. And we were like, we're not done yet. It was my wedding day. We were getting ready, and there wasn't a cloud in the sky. No clouds allowed in the sky. I know the whole thing. I'm going to do it right now if I don't stop myself right there. So
and all the parts. Brilliant. That's amazing. Yeah. It's on my list. I need to watch it. I know I'm so behind on the times.
It's so good. And it's like, I don't know. It's like, especially for anyone who comes from a big family or from an immigrant family or from, any place of having any sort of mental illness or like talented people in your family. It's like it's a highly recommended watch. And it's definitely some of Disney's finest work as of late. It's like currently my deep obsession is Encanto and Hamilton. When Hamilton first came out, I was working on a musical in Chicago, and everyone was like snorting that show like it was a drug. And then I was fortunate enough to get to be in the Chicago production of Spamilton, which is the parody production of Hamilton. It was so fun. And that's why I know the whole show is because while I was working on Spamilton, I was also like auditioning for Hamilton quite a bit. Like I was going out every couple months for it, for like the tour or for the Broadway or for, whatever production of it was casting at the moment. And it was just, it was always fun. Just like, and now forever that score will just kind of be ingrained in my brain just in case they need me.
Look, I mean, I have to say your voice really does fit the roles very perfectly.
I had to like for one of the numbers in Spamilton, I had to play because I was the only girl in the cast, so I had to play all 3 of the Schuyler sisters in the Schuyler sisters number. And how they executed that was I had a puppet for Angelica on one hand, a puppet for Peggy on the other hand, and I was Eliza in the middle. And I just had to like do all 3 of the voices all at once. And it was very fun. I posted a TikTok of it some time ago. I'll fish it out for you if you want to share it.
We love a puppet. So That's great. Josh, have you seen Hamilton? Heard Hamilton?
I have, and I was
Hamilton?
blown away by it. It's definitely, I thought it was just brilliant, and it's one of those things I didn't know what to expect going in. So I went in very blind. And I'll admit, the first time I saw it was on Disney Plus, unfortunately, because it's a hard ticket to get, so to speak.
Is.
But I really enjoyed it. And then I also, a couple years ago, I had never seen Cats. And I went into that blind, and going into that blind was like
the movie or the play.
The play. I actually saw the play. I did it
Got
the
it.
correct way. That one we saw it at the Pantages a couple years ago, and it was phenomenal too. We walked out of the theater just blown away. Like, how did we never know about this? Like,
I've never seen any production of Cats or the movie. I kind of just stayed away from it. Like, not to dox Andrew Lloyd Webber, but is that him? Did he do that one? I don't even know.
I
don't
believe
even know.
yes.
Okay, not to dox him, but I just am not crazy about his stuff. And then he did a musical of a movie I was in, so I was just like, oh, I guess I have to like you now.
By proxy, yes.
Yeah, but hey, his adaptation of School of Rock was actually pretty good. I mean, it definitely had Andrew Lloyd Webberian qualities to it. I would have loved to see Tom Kitt do our movie, or Joe Iconis or something. But I was really thrilled with the production that they did of School of Rock on Broadway. It was so good, and just like the movie, the kids were all playing instruments. That was like they wanted to like hold true to that legacy, which I think is really sick. So yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
And I ended up meeting him too. I ended up meeting him too at the opening night. I met Andrew Lloyd Webber, and I was just like, this is so cool. Like, I don't look back with the Cats or Jesus Christ Superstar, none of your stuff, but like, this is kind of cool. You're like one of the kings of Broadway. So hello, Sir Lloyd Webber.
Sir, excuse us. Yes, sir, of course.
Pardon me, Grandmaster.
He might be a lord. He might be a lord at this point. He might be Lord Lloyd Webber.
Lloyd. That is hard to say. I hope it's sir for the sake of my tongue.
He's absolutely knighted.
But I think the original gentleman that originated the role is now doing Beetlejuice, right?
He is Alex Brightman. Yeah, and they're
Brightman.
coming back. They were gone for a bit because of COVID, I think, or maybe they just had closed.
And the Music Man scandal.
Reasons. Yes. But they're bringing Beetlejuice back by popular demand. I'm obsessed with it. I love Beetlejuice. I thought it was great. I love the song "Dead Mom" so much.
Me too.
It's so funny because like I really want to play Lydia, but there's a height requirement, and I'm a very tall person. Like, Lydia's supposed to be young and like 5'2", and I've been like 5'9" since I was like 12. So there's no way I can like. Yeah, just get on my knees and put a heel on my knee. Yeah, I could do that. I think I could. Yeah, or get some kind of surgery to allow me to play that role. But I think it was fantastic. I got to see Alex do and the original cast, Sophia Caruso as well, and Leslie Kritzer and all of them, and it was just so good. And it was like I think some of the best like stage effects that I've ever seen in my entire existence. I thought it was so brilliant. Man. And Alex is great. He has like extra folds in his like larynx or something like that allows him to do that voice without hurting himself, which I'm like, teach me how. And he's like, it can't be taught. I was born with it. And I'm like, okay, screw you, dude.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Thanks. But I have a dead mom story. So I'm like a karaoke whore. Like if there's anything I can do.
Me too.
So I found that dead mom does not go ever well at karaoke, unfortunately. Because no, everyone afterwards just kind of stared at me and was like, do we clap for and I was like, it's from Beetlejuice. And like there was not a Broadway person in that audience, unfortunately. It was just so uncomfortable. But I thought I did a good job. So
I bet you killed it. And here's the thing with karaoke is that it's kind of like it's like stand up. You have to read the room and like get a vibe for what like the people want. I am obsessed with karaoke. I'm Filipino, so it's kind of like my birthright. It's kind of programmed. It's genetic. But I definitely have like a really good like can suss out the room. I'm like, okay, this is definitely like more of a I Try by Macy Gray crowd than a Don't Rain on My Parade crowd. But I love them equally, and I definitely try to tailor whatever I pick to the crowd, but you won't see me singing like Spice Girls at karaoke. I'm there to like impress people, and I stand by that.
I'm the same way. Like, to me, karaoke is a competition, and I know that sounds horrible to say, but if I see another like good person at karaoke, it just makes me want to be like, all right, guess what we're doing now? Celine Dion. So
Oh my
sit down.
And then you get to hit him with the "There were nights when the wind was so wrong." Oh, God, I'm obsessed. I love that.
Outclassed and outgunned here tonight.
I love that song kind of blew up on TikTok. I love the way that TikTok happens, like where like a song from like the 90s, 80s, even early 2000s, like Pony is on TikTok now, and all the kids are like doing little TikToks of Pony. I'm like, that's not an oldie. That's like I remember that coming out yesterday. But you know, now I love when everyone was doing their like dramatic TikToks to "It's All Coming Back to Me Now." Oh, so good.
I'm like a new TikToker, so I must learn the art of the craft. But since we are speaking about TikTok, I saw one of yours that was about your impressions. And I know before we were talking about impressions, your Britney was amazing.
Oh my God, thank you.
Yes, really good, Brittany. But I know you also mentioned the iconic Liza Minnelli. So do you have a Liza impression?
I need to find it. It's really hard to find it. It's mostly just noises. Yeah, with Liza. It's just, everything's so fabulous, and everything is at the front of the mouth until you start to sing, and then it's in the back of the throat. I fucking love Liza.
Yes.
Liza was one of the ones that it's all about the giggle and hands and everything that mom would be so proud of that. And it's like the body language too is very. Liza was one of the ones that I had to do for Spamilton, because in addition to it being a Hamilton parody, it was very like, it was like a review style thing. So like Liza came out and did a number where she was with all the boys like rapping, and it was just so
Of course
silly.
she was. Yeah.
Of course, you know, because why wouldn't she be there? Why wouldn't she be there? Yeah, like I had to do J-Lo, which was kind of tough, but like, you know, whatever. We figured it out. It was more about dance moves than anything. But yeah, and Liza is one of my favorites. I love an esoteric, nobody like really knows it, and the people who do, like, I fuck with them, Broadway diva impression, because that's kind of like my wheelhouse. But I don't know, I like kind of I'll be like watching TV, and then some actor or actress will like just be on my screen, and sometimes they'll say something in a very specific way, and I'll like under my breath repeat it in the exact same way that they did it. My girlfriend will be like, "Oh my God, like you're like a little shapeshifter." And I'm like, yeah, I'll take that title. I love impressions. I think they're like one of the most impressive things that a performer can do. So yeah, I'm definitely deep in impressions TikTok land.
So for both of y'all, since you guys both do impressions, who would you say is like a really tough one to nail down? Maybe one that you've tried and you're just not quite there yet, but maybe someday.
Josh?
You know, for me, you know who really impresses me is I think his name is Jamie Costa, who does the Robin Williams impersonation. His is like fabulous, and he's so good at it that you're like, my God, you know, like those. And we had Chris Parson like loops, like we had a guest last week who's a fellow voice actor, and he loops for like Bruce Willis and stuff. So he was doing his Bruce Willis, and it's like,
that was spooky.
It was spooky.
It was spooky.
My wife, she left me and I don't have much. Like, it was very just vocal fry.
Bruce, are you here? Hello?
I know, right?
Yeah.
So, and you know, I think, and I'm excited to see the Carol Baskins by Kate upcoming.
Oh
so
my
I'm really
God.
excited to see her.
I can't
Carol
wait to see that
Baskins.
show. My friend Nat is on that show. He's playing one of Joe Exotic's like little boyfriends or husbands, I guess. So yeah, I saw that they played the trailer at the Super Bowl, like during the commercials, and I screamed. I was like, it's Nat! But yeah, he's gonna be so good. I just can't wait to see all of it. Who's playing Joe? It's
John Cameron Mitchell.
John, okay, the way that
From
I thought it was
Hedwig.
David Spade, because of the way that they made him look like David Spade.
But that was the original rumor. So you are not wrong. That was who was rumored to initially be playing the part.
If
So
Spade
Got
was
it,
in it, I
okay.
feel like it would have been a Spade film. That's not a knock to a Spade
Yeah.
film, but I'm like, it would have been like a Tiger King, Joe Exotic film. We would have taken
Yeah.
like
It would have been
serious
Joe
acting
Dirt.
from it, maybe. Yeah,
It would have
like,
been literally
really?
Joe Dirt. Yeah.
yeah.
Joe Dirt Exotic.
Joe Dirt's Exotic Travels.
The crossover. Yes, I love it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. No,
So
for me, you asked the question of like who would be one that I'm trying to nail that I just am not quite there yet with. I think anyone with like an Irish accent, I'm not quite there. Like I try to do like Saoirse Ronan and it just ends up sounding like a pirate and like a little pirate girl, and it's not quite there. But I don't know. I like recently got pretty good at doing an Australian accent, but not really, because that's kind of like no, not exactly. No.
yeah.
No.
Rise
No.
of life,
Yeah.
Lola Scott.
Yeah, there's some key phrases. An actor friend of mine who like loves doing an Australian accent. They taught me some key phrases to practice with, which was like Jennifer Lopez and Ellen DeGeneres and the word effervescent.
I love that.
Yeah. And my new favorite is mesothelioma.
Oh, we love that. We were talking about mesothelioma last week. That's so sweet.
Whoa. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I had
so
no
weird.
idea. I have never listened to the podcast. But
Oh my god. That's
there we
so,
are.
So my husband's reminding me. We had Jimbo on. I know you mentioned Drag Race. So we had Jimbo from Drag Race on.
Oh my God.
I know. And so, yeah, my husband's obsessed with Jimbo. And so
I love Jimbo.
Live. And so we were doing Australian accents and we got roasted. Like people apparently from Australia were not thrilled.
Oh, I bet I'm getting roasted to death in the comments right now. No, every time I do it, I have friends who like just hate it when I do it because it's almost like a coping mechanism thing at this point where if I'm like uncomfortable, I'll be like, oh no. And then people will be like, Rivkah, you're doing it, Riv, you're doing it. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I have no idea what you're talking about.
No.
Like, shut the fuck up. I had a friend who was like, I'm gonna like literally make you get out of my car and walk if you do that accent one more time.
I think your accent's great. I think it's phenomenal.
Bravo. Phenomenal.
Thanks, babes.
You're welcome. Yeah, anytime. Let's go eat some Vegemite after the show.
Absolutely.
Right? Is that what it Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Like, now I'm getting a little Swedish in this one.
So, okay, since we mentioned Jimbo, it's so hard to have a favorite because there's so many incredible queens, but do you have any favorite queens?
On this season right now or in general?
We can go any season. I've watched since day one. So
let's go. Let's get down to brass tacks. I'm a Katya stan. I'm a Bob the drag queen stan. Alaska, I super duper love her. And right now I'm definitely team Willow Pill. I'm rooting for my girl Willow. I feel that spoiler alert. Like if you're watching Drag Race and aren't caught up at this moment, like I think Cornbread being out of the competition now is it helped me to narrow down my choices.
Shout out Cornbread.
Cornbread was my favorite.
Right?
You did?
Cornbread's Cornbread is an amazing human being. We had the pleasure of working together at Universal Studios.
She's amazing.
Were you a studio tour guide?
I without revealing, I do the Transformer show over there. Figure. No,
oh my God,
right?
that's so fun.
Right. And so Cornbread and I have known each other for years, and when they worked there, we got to do Grinchmas together also, which is super fun. So yeah, and my wife is a huge fan of Drag Race also, so she's always watching. And so this season, I'd heard some whispers at work, like, he was on there, and so I said, awesome. And then my wife started talking about it, and I was like, I know them. I need
I got you some cool brownie points, I bet you.
I had some brownie points, so shout out.
Yeah.
And you know another one just because of the name was Sharon Needles
I
from a
love
previous
Sharon.
season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, what a
Yeah.
clever name. I'm like, that's a good
Sharon,
drag name.
I'm not as big of a fan of Sharon, but I definitely I love Alaska.
Alaska.
Yeah, Alaska. Listen, a big listener of Race Chaser. I listen to that podcast every week. Even though I've like watched the episode and I know what happens on TV, I just love hearing Alaska and Willem's commentary on it. Specifically, Willem is such a bitch, and I love them so much. Let's see who else. Like recent, I mean, Got Mick. I love to see a trans man doing femme drag. That like blew my fucking mind, and he was so good. And oh God, I mean, I love all the Chicago girls. Like, I guess Naomi is technically a Chicago girl. We definitely claim her. But I feel like it's like high time we had a Chicago Queen winner. Like we need a winner from Chicago. I don't think that's happened. Oh nope, Shea Coulee. There we go. Shea Coulee. Another favorite Shea, and I love the Vixen. I know she gets a lot of hate for being like messy, but I think she's great. Monique and Monet. Mohart and Monet exchange. I'm a really like fair weather fan when it comes to Drag Race. I just think everything is so impressive, and like there's some like absolute garbage on the runway, but I can never glue stuff to a corset and make it look pretty. I can't even do like even with like Lala repulled with the cups, I couldn't do that shit. You couldn't. No.
I thought Lala Ree looked fine. I'm sorry. Like
I cups or like plastic cups or some shit or paper bags. It was like little paper bags. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you watching UK versus the world?
Not yet, but I do know. I'm like caught up with like I know what's happening on it. But I know Jimbo is back, which I am obsessed with that. And I thought she was gonna win the first Canada season. But I love Priyanka too. I think she was great personality wise. But like. Yeah, Jimbo's looks were just absolutely fire. Every time, like she brought it to the runway. But no, I haven't caught up. I do have a Wow Plus account that my friend kind of gave me, so I'm gonna have to catch up on that.
Listen, let me just tell you, Pangina heels.
Oh, she's so good. I love Pangina. I love Pangina so much. Yeah, she came to Chicago for. When I used to live in Chicago and I would go every week to Roscoe's, which is like the official like Drag Race watch bar of Chicago where the girls from the show will come through and like watch the show with the fans and then do like Q&A and then they do performances. And oh my gosh, like Pangina came through and she had this, she was so stunning. I live for her. I've heard she's like absolutely killing it. Yeah.
But for Christmas last year, my husband got us tickets to the Drive-In Drag, I guess it was called, which was like hosted by Bianca Del Rio, who is like, how are you human? I mean,
she's so funny.
Yeah.
She's so hilarious. Yeah. My girlfriend and I went to the Christmas show with like Shay and Kylie Sonique Love and
Kylie.
Who else was there? Trinity and Monet and
ours was canceled.
Jan. COVID.
Yes, we showed up because that was his gift for me this year. We show up and they canceled, but I completely understand because health and safety first. So hopefully next year.
Yeah. I mean, there's fingers crossed that this thing keeps on diminishing and getting less severe. But
there's no finish line in this race, honey. No worries. Absolutely.
Whoa.
It keeps moving. Okay.
And before we go to the next question, because we don't have to talk Drag Race, even though I would love to for the next hour, shout out to a Miami queen, Latrice Royale, who is just
I love Latrice. I love Manila too. I think we're cousins probably, so I have to claim her as family. But I fucking love Manila. I think she in her All-Star seasons. I think Naomi was playing a good game and I'm glad she pulled that lipstick, but Manila was my top pick for winner. But then that season did what it had to do.
Yeah.
They pulled a 2 Wong Fu, 2 winners. It's all good. I love everyone who was on that season equally, but Preach. Manila a little more.
Fair enough. We're allowed. All right, Josh. Ooh, sorry, we totally like went off the,
No, I was
the
like,
notes.
I love
Okay,
We
watching
went
you.
off the deep end.
You're
It happens.
both of
Gaga.
y'all are enjoying
It
yourselves. Well, who
happens.
am I to interrupt? You know what I mean? It was a great. It was a discussion about drag. You know,
Sorry, we
I
don't
was
know
leaving it
cornbread.
to
Okay,
the people who have the passion. Absolutely. No, keep going. You know, you mentioned Chicago. You're from Chicago. Originally, is this correct?
Yeah.
And so, what influence would you say, like being from the Chicago scene, has on your comedy and also musical style? What rubbed off
Ooh,
on you from the
yeah.
scene?
Well, Chicago famously is the home of Second City, and the rest in peace IO and The Annoyance and all sorts of different, great comedy training programs. And I trained at IO first and did the Herald and did all of the like long form improv and character stuff, and then I went over to Second City and I did their musical improv program, which was great. And that culminated in a musical sketch review where we got to, like, as a class, we did a whole year-long program together for improv. And then our final show was we like wrote improvised sketches, or we wrote sketches that were based on things that we had improvised during the year, or just whatever was going on politically, kind of in the Second City, like social political satire style. And I just fell in love with musical comedy. I thought I always gravitated towards comedians who were musical in their sets, like Jamie Foxx and Sarah Silverman, and Bo Burnham, Garfunkel and Oates, and obviously Tenacious D. So like I definitely had always gravitated towards that. And then any like SNL sketch that had music in it, I was like, oh, like that's so funny, and I definitely could do that. So that's kind of where that started. And after finishing the music improv conservatory there, I ended up doing a fellowship called the Bob Curry Fellowship, which Bob Curry was the first Black actor on Second City's main stage. So it's like a diversity fellowship where they cast 16 different folks to go through an intensive I think it's like a 6-week program, and we get to get tested in front of a bunch of like industry peeps. NBC is usually like a sponsor of it, and that's kind of how things took off for me again, after School of Rock. And then I did high school and college, and kind of had like a still working but doing like high school and college. And I really, really dove deep into comedy for a while. I did a drama, like acting program for college, but I didn't really feel like I had learned enough. And I after my freshman year of college, I was like, I need more training in other performance styles. And so improv felt like the logical thing to do, because I was like, well, I've always like loved improv and sketch, and like I just wanted to really deepen my practice with that. And I felt like it would make me a better actor, better writer, and more comfortable in my body on stage. And that's exactly what I achieved with that. So, I started out writing for group performances, like for, musical sketch. And then, I was in a sketch group that was run by a terrible person, but it was all musical comedy, mostly about like cum and boners and shit. And like it was like really shitty work environment. We weren't being paid enough to have like gross humor directed at us, and being performing all that. But I started writing solo comedy music and performing it at open mics all over Chicago. Chicago's also got a great DIY, like underground weirdo art alt comedy scene. And I had started performing on a bunch of like variety shows and stand-up open mics and stuff. I'd bring my guitar with me, and I kind of got this name for myself in Chicago as like, a musical stand-up comedian, which eventually got me Spamilton. It got me, Spamilton in Chicago, and then that became Spamilton in LA. And here I am, like 4 years later. So just
Absolutely.
yeah.
That's amazing.
That's really, what a great story.
Yeah, and I was
Thank
gonna say
you.
it's cool that you found these two worlds that somehow like mesh together, like music and comedy, and
Yeah.
it's led you to where you are. And I think that's so wonderful. I love hearing about like these serendipitous things, and
That shit's
because
inspiring. You know what I mean?
it
For
is,
real. That
yeah.
shit's inspiring. You know, too many
Thank you.
people don't believe they can do it. And what you listed off right there is someone whose drive, chase, and passion leads to, you know, you prepare your whole life, and you hope that the right doors will open. And if you do the right things, they definitely will. Sounds like you did. For
Yeah.
sure. For
Thank
sure,
you. Yeah.
dog.
I'm definitely a seeker. I'm also like, if anyone out there is watching and they're interested in or know anything about human design, basically my energy style in human design, which is like astrology on crack, is it's all based on your birth time and location. You put it into this website and they tell you what your energy style is. I'm a manifesting generator, which basically means that I have a bunch of different passions and loves, and I get bored of them very quickly, but they're always like something that becomes easy for me to pick back up again. So like it's always been like that with me. I was always like music. Well, I guess it's like when I was a kid, I was very just music only because I didn't know what I didn't know about myself. And then, you know, School of Rock comes along and I started acting for camera. And then after School of Rock, I started auditioning for everything. I started auditioning for theater. I'm like, theater is what I want to do now. And I do theater, you know, through high school, I did dance team for a little bit. I really wanted to be a dancer. Didn't go well. I'm all elbows and knees, so didn't really go too well.
Hey, but you still got to be J-Lo, so
yeah.
you know.
I got to be J-Lo and Beyonce in one of the numbers,
Oh, there you
and
go.
Gloria Estefan in this Hamilton show. But yeah, and musical theater, I get to dance, you know, a moderate amount, like you know, like dance on the, you know, terms that I can move my body essentially. I'm definitely a mover, not a dancer, but yeah. And then in college, I wanted to do you know, musical theater. I didn't end up getting into musical theater programs for university, so I was just like, all right, let's deepen the acting practice. And then when I felt like I was just like not getting enough, I was like, let's do improv. And when I felt like I wasn't getting enough out of that, let's do stand up. And then when I felt like I got bored of stand up, and I also like got heavily into drugs and alcohol when I started doing deeper into alcohol and drugs anyway, because like, you know, just being in the industry so young, it set me up for a little bit of addiction, but luckily we're out of that anyway. But yeah, when stand-up started to get like, you know, boring, toxic, whatever, I was finding myself burning bridges and also bridges being burned with me. I was just like, all right, what do I really want to do? Well, you know what? Musical theater really brought me joy. So why don't I start auditioning for that again? And then, you know, it's always been this like back and forth kind of like tornado of like, I have so many things that I love. I have so many things that I'm good at. You know, now it's writing for me. Is like I'm taking this writing class, and like I've written, you know, a TV series that I'm starting to pitch, and you know, I'm writing a couple of short films, a feature, like, and you know, whoever wants to, you know, produce those, it's like, yeah, great. But in the meantime, like music and acting have always been there for me, and I've always been like, you know, playing my songs, writing music, performing my comedic, you know, tunes, and then also like auditioning or working on, you know, various projects here and there. I think tomorrow I get to be paid to shave my legs for a commercial, so that'll be
amazing.
We'll see. Yeah, I guess you'll see it soon.
Huzzah! That's amazing.
I know a lot of people pay good money to see that, you know, and OnlyFans or whatever. But,
exactly. Yes, get that coin. Is there? And I hate to ask dream role because maybe that's like too much of a generic question. Is there a dream role as far as a musical? I know that there's so many incredible.
Can you
roles,
guess?
Can I guess?
Yeah, try to.
So okay, I feel like you and I are on like the same wavelength for a lot of things. So I'm gonna tell you what my dream role is, and then you tell me if it's the same for you. Okay. Okay. Audrey, Little Shop of Horrors.
That's up there. I'd love to play Seymour more than anything. I think I'd be a better Seymour than I would be an Audrey.
Hell yeah.
And that's on being non-binary. But like,
love it. Why not? And you can.
Yeah. It's so fun. I definitely, my sister we are both musical theater nerds, and we grew up, doing like duets together, like weird songs to sing with your little sister, but you know, whatever, we were kids, it's innocent, it's fine. Like we would do like Light My Candle, and she would always be me, and I would be Roger. And she's transgender, so like it's like we're both, you know, playing the roles of like, you know, that society wouldn't have put on us at that age. But now I feel like everything's more like, you know, fluid, and everything is, you know, everything is genderless at this point, which is beautiful and amazing. No, my dream role is Elphaba. Yeah, I really want to be in Wicked. I'd also love to be in Legally Blonde. I'd love to play Elle Woods. I mean, I got the songs, I got the notes. I definitely don't have the dance for that show, but as I said, like I'm a mover. So if you know, put me in a blonde wig and give me a like lawyer outfit, I can do an Elle Woods. I think you can have an Elle Woods that can't really dance that good.
I'm trying to. So I recently went back and like I recently went back and watched the MTV show where they were looking
so good.
Yeah,
so good.
And Lena Hall, who of course,
come on, was going by Selena by then, but like yeah, Lena Hall and Cassie S, like Broadway queens. I mean, all of them ended up doing great things. I saw the girl who came in second place, I'm blanking, Autumn. I saw her in the tour of Something Rotten with Adam Pascal, School of Rock cast member, as Shakespeare, and she was like in the cast of Something Rotten, and I was like, "You're such a star!" Like, why? I was rooting for Autumn to win. She was the underdog. Nobody liked Autumn. I liked Autumn. I thought she was like, she had the training. She was like a professional. She was Elle to me. But you know what? It was a beauty contest. It was a beauty competition. Not inner.
I say no more. They made them actually bleach their hair just to put wigs on them for the final episode.
Insane.
So
insane.
That's a lot of work. But I feel like you said, a lot of these performers ended up having these breakaway parts that made them even bigger stars. So I think it's just, you know, a cool jumping off point, a cool experience, I suppose. So
yeah. I see that question.
Oh, yeah. So
what's my favorite Broadway show of all time? It's Legally Blonde. Honestly, I think it's so good. Like the music is, and the music is so well done. It's very complex too. Like if you listen to the score, and then like, so good, so good. And the key changes, even the key changes in so much better. Like for one of the variety shows that I did, when I was kind of like going through some like, you know, injury that I had where I couldn't play guitar for a little bit, I was like, what the fuck? What am I going to do? This is like before I started producing pop tracks. And I was just like, well, I have a lot of friends who play piano, and I figured like I can teach them some of the chord progressions of my songs, and then also maybe do like a musical theater number here and there, just like practice for auditions here, whatever. I did so much better for one of those shows as like a drag queen comedian who hosts a show in Chicago. Their name is Dairy Queen, and I think they're amazing. And I think she should definitely be on Drag Race at some point. But I don't know if she wants that, so I'm not going to say that. Like, I'm not going to say much more on that. But she's a great queen and a great friend, and she had me on her show. And I sang like one of my like originals had a friend, Brandon, who's a great jazz pianist, like do kind of like a jazzed up version of it. And then I did so much better. But like when we were practicing it, I was like, damn, this song has a lot of modulations and key changes and stuff. I like forgot how like intense this musical is, but it's so perfect. And I think honestly, it is a perfect show. There is not a single skip on the album for me. Even this like stupid Harvard variation song and the Callahan's like little villain number. Like I listen to every inch of that soundtrack. And you know, that is the show for me that I think there's not a single skip, and that's how I classify it as my favorite. Okay. And then I think a close second would be Little Shop. I just think it's Little Shop, and I also really love Into the Woods. I think Sondheim, brilliant. Sweeney Todd too, I would put up there with Into the Woods. Sweeney Todd was the first musical full production I ever did. I played Pirelli, which was super fun. I always joke that like my freshman year of high school, like the theater teacher, like he saw some kind of trans, you know, non-binary in me by casting me as a boy in that show. And it was funny because like we did this instead of doing like the production of Sweeney Todd, like our school didn't have a budget to do quite all of the, you know, crazy tech needs that Sweeney Todd has. So we like, he was like a priest who's like so we're gonna do a play within a play, asylum style. I'm like, what? You're a priest? Like, this is crazy. Yeah, Father Ross, gotta love that. But he basically like handed us all our roles and handed us each like a secret mental illness envelope, basically, that said like why we were in the asylum, and then we were to take that little sliver of a sentence and turn it into like an essay of a backstory. So when I opened the envelope, it was like Pirelli. It was like, you're in the asylum because you're confused about your gender and you think you're a man. And I was just like, oh my God. Like, and back then I didn't know shit about that. I was just like, okay, I'll play with that. But now looking back at it, like being like an openly like queer, non-binary person who like kind of IDs as like gender fluid, gender bending, gender magical, I was just like, damn, Father Ross clocked me. He knew.
He knew. But that's, I mean, oh, God, that's such a cool spin and a twist. And I've never heard of anybody doing that before, honestly, as far as character studies. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy for a freshman in high school to have to do that. But like, yeah, I was really appreciative of it and it was really fun. That was the first time I ever had to do an Irish accent because Pirelli is famously like Italian. And then like there's the whole gag is like, you know, he's actually Daniel O'Higgins. And
there it is. I mean, I think the way you said Cersei was really good. That's a hard. Saoirse. I can't even say it. Saoirse.
Yeah. one of my dear friends is very Irish. Like she's got a very like good, like, well, obviously she's native, so like she's got an Irish accent, and I'll just like listen, I'll hear her say stuff and I'll be like, oh, thunder and lightning, and she's like, don't do that. Like, sorry, my bad.
Thunder and lightning. It is a hard, like, I think that's a difficult.
It's really tricky.
It is.
It's a combination of the vowel placement and then the lilt and like all of that. That's all dialects. Yeah, a lot of dialects are heavily, you know, based on the musicality of the patterns, where, you know, and vowels and placement and all that. And so I feel like that's like, it's definitely like I feel like it's something that I was like kind of naturally born with. I don't know. Like I've been doing accents since I was a little kid. Like I've always, you know, when Harry Potter first came out as a movie, I was always like, you know, going to school being like, I wonder if today's the day that I'm going to get my letter. And
Silence yourself, Harry, before I have my way with you in.
Oh my God!
I've been working on my Rickman. It's a known fact on the show. We do a lot of
wait.
A lot of Alan.
That's
who do you want to play?
Fun.
You want to do a scene? We'll do a scene.
Yeah. Hold on. Oh, let me see if I can find it.
We'll just improv on this wing, whatever you do.
Potter, boy who lived, come tonight.
Wait, do it.
I was just gonna riff on some Snape.
You have left your invisibility cloak back home, Potter.
Do Severus Snape ordering a burrito bowl at Chipotle.
I will have Spanish rice, lime, cilantro, not too much spice upon the meat, or in this case, poultry.
Oh my gosh.
I'll take lettuce and marginal hot sauce.
Yeah.
To go. Thank you.
Both of y'all. Woo!
You know,
guacamole is extra, Potter. My father will be hearing about this. That's my favorite. I love Malfoy.
Your father was a swindler. He was. I was there.
Now I'm turning into Wayne Gale. I was there at Grenada. I was there. Vickery and Mallory.
I love it.
It's another day. But to them on Highway 66.
This is so fascinating.
So what houses are we all in?
I think I'm a Slytherin with a Gryffindor rising.
Okay.
I'm right with you.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the other way. I'm like a Gryffindor rising who's like secretly a Slytherin. And they're like, why do you go over there and hang out with them and tell them all secrets? I'm like, because you can never understand my darkness. So like, and they do. Like, right?
Yeah,
There's got to be some
I think
Gryffindor students like that.
I think pre sobriety and therapy, I was definitely more on the Slytherin side. But as I've matured and gotten sober, and just started to be actively and it's active that I have to make good choices. It's like I have to be like, nope, catch the bad choice and be like, no, don't do that. Do the good
So-
thing. And then I think that's what kind of has made me a little more on the Gryffindor side. But every single test I've taken, whether it's like an official J.K. Rowling approved, ugh, gross, but Pottermore or whatever, it's always been Slytherin every single time. I've never gotten
too.
anything other than Slytherin. So I'm like, but you know what they say? Some great wizards have come out of Slytherin.
So many,
Yep.
unable to count. That's why we all stop by Chipotle,
Chipotle.
Chipotle Potter.
Yeah.
I saw you gander at her, Joanna.
I love him in Sweeney Todd too. He's so
So
good.
good.
Pretty
Oh my god.
women running
Oh
round.
my god, you can even do him
Pretty
singing. Damn.
women, pretty
Cheers to that.
women,
I'll drink to
standing
that.
at the window.
Oh, I love you
This
guys.
is chaos. I love
This
this.
is
This
chaos.
is so good.
Speaking
love
of
this.
chaos, you
What?
got the gift of gab. Your podcast is called Where Are We
Now?
What can you tell us
With
about this, and where
Rivkah
can people
Reyes.
find this? With
The you
wonderful-
can find thank you, that's me. You can find Where Are We Now with Rivkah Reyes, hosted by me, Rivkah Reyes, any place you listen to podcasts. It's definitely on Spotify, Apple Music, all those streaming platforms. Is that a streaming platform? That's where it exists. And yeah, that was born during the pandemic. We are on a season break right now, but season 2 is in production. We're recording some episodes all the next couple of months to release over the summer. So that should be fun. I've got some great guests on from this last season. We had guests from Degrassi, from Hannah Montana, from Cheaper by the Dozen, School of Rock, obviously. That one show that Demi Lovato was on. Oh gosh, I'm blanking. The girl, Sunny with a Chance, but the person who I talked to is currently on the show AP Bio, which is like where I knew her from.
Cool. Yeah.
And because I was watching AP Bio, I was like, I know her. Like, where do I know her from? I googled her. I was like, oh, okay, that's and this coming season, I have some actors from 13 Going on 30. That's So Raven. I have people from Even Stevens and the movie Just Friends. And I'm very excited to talk to these folks. It's gonna be really, really fun. And I love talking to these people because it's like a lot of Venn diagram of like things that we have in common, but then it's like not everybody had the same parents that I had, literally nobody has the same parents that I have except for my siblings and I, but like some people have, tumultuous relationships with their parents. Others have really solid relationships with their parents. And, some of them we're like, okay, I'm done acting at a certain point. And so a lot of us are like, no, we still do this. And here's where all of our work exists. Whether it was absorbed and devoured by millions or by, whatever 36 people were in the attic at the shithole in Chicago to see my, 4-minute stand-up set that night. Right. And I just think it's beautiful. I think, there's this thing with child stars and with celebrity in general that's so fickle where it's like, where are they now? And every single article that I've ever seen posted about that had me in it, from where are the kids from School of Rock now, or here are 50 child stars you probably forgot about because they never worked again. That hurts a little bit, and I used to let it really affect me, and I got really resentful and would wake up with my jaw so tight because I was grinding my teeth about it in my sleep. But now it's well, I think to be known by the community that you're in, is much more valuable to me now than like 1 billion followers and $1 billion and, you know, a bunch of IMDb credits and whatever. Like, I mean, that's nice. Yeah, sure. Like, I'd love that. And, you know, I'm grateful for the like the few large credits that I have, but I find the validation aspect of it all is not as fulfilling, and it kind of leaves something to be desired, because at the end of the day, you know, fame and fortune is not going to like really fix all of the shit within you. But like my community, my friends, my close circle, they know who the fuck I am, and they know my work and they know what I've been up to. So whenever I see those articles now where it's like Rivkah Reyes, and then they'll like use my dead name, which is like bullshit. Like usually it's like
and that's so fucked up.
transphobic.
Come
like
on.
yeah,
That's,
like it's
so
usually some
fucked up.
British like right wing.
Just links are the worst, because they
you
like they
know.
always trick you. You can never like, it looks like you could just look through the pictures. No, you have to like click on it and go to their terrible
Well,
site. Fuck
What
them.
what I was
Yeah.
gonna say, Rivkah, is I feel like, and as I get older, I learn this more, because I find that fame is what we make it, right? And like you said, your friends, like they know who you are, and you know, like you said, you've performed in front of 30 people and you've been on the screen in front of millions. But at the end of the day, it's like it's when we go, we're all going to the same place, you know? It's like
Yeah.
it
You know, I get more validation out of like not even performing, but like going to like a jail or like a hospital or an institution to like talk to people who are recovering from addiction. I get more validation and like in a healthy way, and more just like soul points and soul credits in my spiritual bank account than any amount of like followers, likes on TikTok. Even though the likes on TikTok feel great, like I love it when people use my sounds, and I love it when people like my shit, my stupid lesbian jokes and like whatever. But like, you know, with the podcast, like the goal is like to show and to like give a platform to people like me who grew up, you know, in the spotlight, or had that like moment in the spotlight where we were like, okay, that was great, I'm gonna give that back now. Or people who are still currently in it, to just like talk about what that experience was like, and also to give people a platform to like talk about what they want to talk about, rather than like the same 10 questions that they probably get asked about, like, what was it like working with Demi Lovato? For me, what was it like working with Jack Black? Are you still friends with Miranda Cosgrove? Like, it's like, yes,
Right.
I could talk about Jack and Miranda all day. Like, I would love to, but I actually would rather just talk about where I'm at, like spiritually, and not talk about myself in relation to celebrity that I am like adjacent to. Like,
yeah,
you know, I'd rather talk
totally
about fucking
understand.
Drag Race and karaoke and,
That's right.
do stupid like
cornbread.
Voldemort impressions and cornbread, right?
And Voldemort, yes, and Professor Snape ordering Chipotle, which is
You're
brilliant,
welcome.
by the way.
I just thought that would
Thank
be
you
fun
for
to
that.
see. Yeah, that was in the recess of my
Can
mind.
tell
I'm
you're
like,
a pro.
oh, that'd be a
Can
funny
tell
bit.
you're a pro. She's like,
Rivkah, when,
immediately she's like, I want to know what it sounds like when he
I just
orders
in my
Chipotle.
mind I was
You
just
said.
like it would be funny like to hear like Snape going like no salsa.
No pico de gallo.
I feel like I need to start working on an impression, because I feel left out. So I'm gonna have to start working on one. Who can I do? Oh my god.
I hate to cut it, but we're coming up toward the end of our time.
Okay.
Are we going to try and play Would You Rather, or are we just going to? Okay.
Yes. If that's okay with you, if we keep you through a few more moments, we have a game. If that's
Keep
okay.
me all night. I'm having fun.
We have a game.
Okay. So
wait. Can we do this really quickly? Hold on. What are you saying?
Snape
I wish I
ordering
could hear
Chipotle.
Snape ordering Chipotle while Liza is anxiously behind him wanting to order.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
There's this woman behind me. We must be quick. I will have 2 of
It's
the
ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Just the amount of
flautas.
in my car.
Make sure you put the sour cream in separate containers this time. I don't want to be back. Excuse me, miss.
What? Yes.
I'm ordering. Could you perhaps look over there and not
Sorry,
disturb me?
I was breathing over your shoulder, and I want to apologize. I don't have a really good sense of spatial relation. I also have spatial synesthesia. It's really hard for me sometimes to really
I say the
understand
breath
what I'm
over the shoulder.
doing.
She's a showgirl with show tunes now, Liza Minnelli. Put the burrito in the bag. I'll be leaving.
Oh my gosh.
I just had a quesadilla to go.
She would get a quesadilla. She would. Oh my god.
The thing you
Proud
can
of
make
you.
at home. The thing you could absolutely make at home. She would get that at the Chipotle. Yeah, 1,000%.
Oh,
I love it.
you guys are everything. Thank you.
Ah! It's like-
Such a delight.
5
Okay.
stars. 5 stars. All right, real quick. Let's run through the would you rather.
Yes. Okay, Josh, you want to read it first?
All right.
Okay.
Would you rather be stuck in Chicago traffic after the Cubs win the World Series or ride the Red Line train during Lollapalooza? Both sound terrible.
So sweaty, so much like drunk, sloppy sex out in the street. True story. I've seen people fuck on the Red Line.
Oh no.
Chicago traffic. I think the World Series situation sounds
The mood
a
would be
little
better.
more better because Lollapalooza, it's like a bunch of zombies from the suburbs like crawling home on, in a K-hole. They're like, did you see Tame Impala? Tame Impala was great. Whereas like there's a celebratory nature to the Cubs winning, and I did grow up on the north side for most of my childhood, so I would definitely probably say being stuck in Chicago traffic because it's like more of a parade than anything. Lala's like a zombocalypse, so yeah.
No wrong answer. Great
Yeah,
answer.
that's correct. Correct. All right. Here's the next one. Would you rather? Ooh, I'm so excited. Okay. Listen to You'll Be Back on repeat for 24 hours or listen to Dear Theodosia on repeat for 24 hours.
Fuck. Oh God. And one of them I have to hear Lynn sing. And then the other one, you know what? No, I'm gonna go with Dear Theodosia just because I think the words are beautiful and I think the melody is beautiful. Whereas You'll Be Back is it's like that annoying like da 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 da. In Spamilton, our version of that we had was Gay is Back or something like that, or Queer is Back or something like that, or You'll Be Gay. And the whole joke was that it was the whole joke was a gay thing. And then for the chorus we did like gay, 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 which was super fun to get the audience to sing along with King George. But yeah, no, I'm going with Dear Theodosia for sure.
Love it.
Excellent.
And now I'm not remembering his name. The gentleman that played Burr. Oh my gosh.
Leslie Odom Jr.
Yes. Oh, can't even.
So good.
Obsessed.
Stunning voice.
Okay. Next one, Josh. You got it?
Would you rather compete with your buddy Jack Black on Double Dare, or do you think you and Mr. Black would be more successful in Legends of the Hidden Temple?
Oh my God. Wait, okay, so are we competing as a team or against each other?
I think you're
Team.
you're a team. You're a team.
I think Double Dare. I want to
Double
get
Dare all the
slimed.
way. We're
I
going to
wanna
take the
get
physical
slimed.
challenge. Yeah, we're not answering. We're just taking the physical challenge all day. Looking for the
Yeah.
flags and the giant nostril.
Love.
Oh, I don't have it here.
Shout out Robin and Mark Summers. Shout out Robin. Don't forget about Robin. That was great.
Never.
And I just want to pick that big nose, like so bad.
So fun.
Oh, okay.
That
Here's
was
the
me
next-
very daintily picking the nose.
Ta-da! All right.
Yeah.
Would you rather be cast as a superhero or as a historical figure?
Superhero for sure. I'm actually like I'm training at a this is so LA. I'm training at an athletic club in Los Angeles that gears to that. Like, it's a lot of people that work out there are like actors and performers. Like I can't name names, of course, to
No worries.
protect the confidentiality of people who work out next to me. But like
Oh, what does it rhyme
like-
with? No, I'm kidding.
oh, I can't. Oh, okay, no, I can't.
An impression?
No, it would be
Go ahead.
it would be unwise for me to do that. But no, like a lot of people that the owner of this gym has trained have, been specifically geared to like people who are doing action movies or, doing big Marvel roles and stuff like that. So I definitely I'm like in I can't say too much about the project, but I'm about to do a project where I will be running a lot and I will be doing some stunts and things like that. So I've been training for this
Awesome.
for the last like 6 months. I really
Awesome.
anytime I'm like at the gym and I'm like not able to pick something up, I'm like, do it for Marvel, and then I can pick it up a little better. So that's where I'm at. Yeah.
Amazing.
What
That's a cool-
historical figure? Like, I want to know what historical figure y'all talk about. Like, it's like, who could I even play? Like,
Any.
I guess I mean, Liza. I was kind of bitter that they didn't even call me for the Halston show. Okay, Ryan Murphy. I see you and I hear you. But no, I think I would love to play like an Amy Winehouse or a Janis Joplin at some point. And they I guess ideas. I think they would identify as historical figures.
For this, yes,
so,
absolutely.
yes, absolutely. So
Agree
yeah,
with
I
you.
think there's a strong lean towards superhero right now, but honestly, one day, why not both?
Why not? Why not both? A historical.
We're going to see a movie
superhero.
about you one day, and as someone else playing you as a historical figure.
Oh my God, Olivia Rodrigo, please.
Love her.
She's Filipino. She could do it.
There we go. All right.
All
we got a
right,
few
moving
more.
along. Would you rather? No wrong answer. Own a guitar from Joan Jett. Yes. Or or own a guitar that belonged to Prince.
Prince, absolutely Prince.
Absolutely, because
1,000,000% Prince. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, Joan, love her, but Prince has that guitar.
no one
mean,
against
that's-
Prince. You just put
yeah.
Prince in the mix. We're gonna lose. I was surprised to
Yeah.
see Prince on this one. I didn't think he wouldn't go from like the guitarist from Creed, give like a straight win to Joan Jett.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, like,
Got stabbed. Microphone.
know. You never know.
I only say that because I had posted something on my Instagram reminding everyone. I was like, never forget when the Super Bowl party this
That-
year is lit, but never forget when Creed played on the halftime show and a man did elaborate curtain diving. He was like,
What?
hanging
Oh
on-
my
he
God, I
was
don't
doing,
remember
like-
Creed. I
it
remember
was-
Prince's Super Bowl halftime show and seeing that guitar and being like, Mom, why does that look like that? And she was like, well, it's because he's gay. And I said, oh, okay. All right.
It is the most
yeah.
beautiful guitar for the most beautiful person. He is your-
Phallic.
Mm.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
True that.
Shout out to Prince. Shout out Prince.
Shout
Shout out to Prince. Shout out to Phallic Instruments.
Here we go. There's not enough. Well, maybe there is if you think about it hard enough. But-
Every brass instrument, every
Yeah.
wind instrument, most instruments are phallic when you think about it. But this is the thing, and this is how I definitely absolutely knew I was gay. Was that let's get into this. Let's pathologize a little bit.
How did you know?
My guitars, I always name them after women. And my reasoning, and I of course never told anybody this until I was like old enough to really get the language around it and the vocabulary, but I just thought that the curves of the guitar, I started out with a classical guitar, so they were always that shape, that hourglass figure. So yeah, my guitars were always like Maria after, Julie Andrews and The Sound of Music, who I had a crush on. And, Miss Honey was one of my guitars.
From Matilda?
Had nothing to do with guitar, but I definitely had it bad for Miss Honey. No, it's funny. My girlfriend and I were just talking about this today at lunch. She was like talking about, I asked her, I was like, did you like remember seeing School of Rock? And if so, like, did you remember me in School of Rock? And she was like, I was mostly just into Sarah Silverman. I was like, and that's a good point. That
Oh my
makes
God.
sense.
Make-
And I was like not offended by that whatsoever. I'm like, yeah, same. I was enamored by her when she was on set. I was like, oh my God, I want to be you. Or do I want to be with you?
With you. The age-old question. So,
Yes.
any of your current guitars, do they have names, and what are their names?
Yeah, the guitar that I play, I only have one of my guitars in LA, which I think is homophobic of my dad to not send them to me. I have one acoustic electric guitar here, and her name is Arya Stark.
Oh, pretty. Of cose. Of
Yes,
course.
Game of
okay.
Thrones.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. That's a whole nother. Gosh, if we could keep you for another hour, that would just.
I didn't really you know what? Game of Thrones, I watched the whole thing, but like it was never like really like my show that I was like addicted to. Like I was like, yeah, I guess I'll watch it because everybody's fucking talking about it. But
It's
yeah, I
cupcakes,
wasn't
right? You
as
eat
I
you eat too
wasn't
many
as
cupcakes and you
into
get
it.
over it, right? It's like a cupcake,
Yeah.
it's a cupcake show, and you can eat as many as you
Yeah.
can hold at the time, and you can always come back to a cupcake, but you can't forever eat cupcakes.
There
right?
was
You
this
know?
video the other day that killed me on TikTok. That it was this girl doing an impression of Khaleesi talking Dothraki or whatever, and she was just like, it's like you're either speaking like Dothraki or like parcel tongue, but either way, I'm into it.
Fair enough. I mean, hey, she's the reason I went blonde. So
I can see. You know what? That's the impression you should learn how to do. Is Khaleesi.
Okay. I will start eating horse hearts immediately because that's all I can ever do. I will not get the accent. I will try my best. Yeah, delicious. We love. I think we have, 2 more. Okay. So would you rather perform on stage with the first music act you ever saw in concert or perform with the first musician whose CD you bought?
Okay, yeah, no, it's definitely the second one. I mean, love it, love Santana so much, but Santana was the first concert I ever saw. The first musician whose CD I bought was TLC. So just call, bring Left
Crazy
Eye back.
Sexy Cool? Was that one?
Let me get in there. Yes, Crazy
Waterfalls?
Sexy. Yeah, let me get in there. Waterfalls. That's one of my go-to karaoke songs because I love when it gets to the Left Eye part where it's I seen a rainbow yesterday, but so many songs. She's so good. Just let me take. Well, I can never replace, but let me pay homage to Left Eye.
You're available.
We could do TRC.
There you go. It works.
Yeah.
It works.
Legends,
Oh.
TLC Legends. That whole era of music was really just nostalgia tickling for me.
Yeah,
still,
it's
but
my favorite.
TLC.
It's like what I gravitate to, like when I work out, when I go for a walk, when I'm on a drive. I'm like, yeah, no, it's always 90s R&B for me.
And the outfits, not enough condoms on clothing anymore. It's like
No,
left
you gotta
eye
get
in.
IUDs on clothes.
She always had the eye. She always had the NFL. Like the patch, and I didn't realize later, was that like a shout out because her husband was before the fire was was an NFL player too, so maybe
I think it was before that. Yeah, I feel like that was before.
I think it's just because it was her left eye. I think it's
just
there it is.
Like there it is, the left one.
There it is.
All right, we have one final one. Josh, you want to take it home?
Absolutely. And finally, would you rather go back in time and have a conversation with Jimmy Stewart or Katharine Hepburn?
Katharine Hepburn for sure.
I think she'd have some
absolutely
great stories
Katharine.
to tell.
I bet
Jimmy would
would.
just. I don't want to listen.
I love Jimmy. Hey,
she loved
I don't
Jimmy.
wanna
Nothing
deal with
against Jimmy
Jimmy.
Stewart, but I'd be like, when Katharine Hepburn is there, I'm like, I want to talk to you.
I defined my heartbeat tattoo. I'm like, there it is. I love it.
Oh my god. There's some impressions that I'm like, I can definitely do that impression of that person. And then there are other impressions that I'm like, no, I can do Kristen Wiig doing that person.
Okay.
And that one of them is Katharine Hepburn, where she's just like, I found a squirrel outside. It's like, whatever. So good. I love Kristen Wiig.
Ditto.
I want to go back in time and have a conversation with her, Kristen Wiig. Shit. Yeah.
I mean,
I can really do that now.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, maybe next week. Oh yeah, she's something special. Oh man, SNL just hasn't been the same since that cast. Even though there's so many, like, don't get me wrong, so many wonderful.
Don't get me wrong. Don't come for Bowen. Don't come for Bowen Yang.
I love Bowen
and Sarah Squirm. I fucking love my Sarah Squirm and my Bowen Yang and Chloe Feynman. Like, I think that the current cast is like probably like it is very, very strong right now. I do miss Kristen Wiig and I do miss like, Jason Sudeikis and Bill Hader and all them, but like they come back all the time. They do little bits, but I really, really love this current cast. And I think, you know what, Pete gets a lot of rap. I think he is not a great boyfriend from what I've ascertained from just like watching things, from being a person who like follows the internet, who is very online and who is very much a part of the algorithm. But like, say what you want about Pete. I think he's very funny. I think he's very smart. And I think he is very self-aware. Like he knows he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and he knows he has mental illness and he like puts it out there. And for that, we're grateful. We love an icon who takes Lexapro or Wellbutrin or whatever he's on.
And is open about it and talks about it.
Yeah, especially like men don't really talk about that often. Like there's definitely like a history of mental illness in my family with the men, and there's this like this deep thing where, you know, it's not talked about. Even like with my, you know, sisters and I and my immediate family, it was like such a thing that was like pushed under the rug. Like when I was going through my shit in college and like in and out of the psych ward, in and out of, you know, like sobriety and making countless attempts at unaliving and all that. Sorry, I had to get real dark real quick. Like it was always like my parents would always be like, oh, she's got a stomach ulcer. I'm like, no, my stomach was pumped because there was a lot of drugs in it. But like, you know, now I feel like it's great to be in a time where people are not ostracized for having mental illness and but very much still like with what's going on with Ye right now is like there's it's like
he's heartbroken. Like, it's like watching a very heartbroken person.
But he's also bipolar,
sad.
And we're just seeing this like this train wreck happening and kind of making like a sport or like it's some kind of like sketch or like Onion article, but it's not. This is like this man's life, and
it is.
Yeah. You know, I can relate a little bit to Ye only because like I think everyone can. I think everyone, maybe if you had a healthy or toxic breakup, knows the sting of heartburn. But I feel like in particular, I can relate because I had a similar situation. There was someone I was dating for a while that years ago when I was very younger, and then when we broke up, the person that she was with after me, just for whatever reason, it bothered me even more. It was like, you know what I mean? And that was like part of my healing from it, though, was realizing you got to just move past the whole thing. And he's just not there yet. I'm hoping, you know what I mean? And I feel rough for Pete too, being put in this situation, because let's admit, there's no one.
I feel really rough for the kids. I mean, like shit.
There's a lot of going on. It's like, Pete, hey bro, love you, dog. Love you as a comedian, but maybe you should be Kim. Let's take a couple weeks. Let's figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, let's just take a break. You know, maybe we figure it all out and we keep it on the DL. Pete doesn't have social media, so he's not really online. So, you know, so I commend Pete for that. But man, I don't. It's like, hey, bro, I feel for you. I feel for you, man. That's all I can say. I feel for you. Feel for both parties.
And I definitely see both parts of it. And obviously, like, I'm not going to pretend like I know everything, but I definitely think that Kanye, like you said, it's a spectacle right now where people want to, like, you know, make fun because he's having this public mental breakdown. He needs some love, and he needs to know that there's help, and it will get better.
I think him being involved in his kids' lives will help him more than he realizes too, because he'll realize, like, I think maybe he thinks he needs Kim to co-parent, and he can't parent those kids without her. He can't do it without a full household. And as somebody who has, you know, 2 children from two different women, I can relate to that. And you know, some of the best advice someone ever gave me about it was, hey, look, man, you don't need to live in the same house as your kids to be a great father. So it's really true. And I think once he kind of embraces those words, I think it'll work for him. He'll get there. Let's hope. You know, let's hope he has enough support in his life to do that. Same with Pete, you know, because it's like, if you're going to stick around, you're going to meet those kids, stepdaddy, daddy. So, you know,
it's a public situation that doesn't need to be public. But
that's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, when people obsess over fame and become kind of addicted to that whole thing, they don't realize that like your entire life is on display. And like the tiny ounce of that I have, where, you know, it's like, it's a toss-up whether somebody is staring at me because they recognize me or because I have something on my face or because they think I'm cute or whatever. Like, you know, but maybe like 20% of the time somebody's kind of like looking at me funny. It's because they've recognized me from my other TikTok or from School of Rock. And like, you know, that is like the extent of like, you know, I love Mark Maron's joke where he's like, I'm not like super famous, but I'm famous enough where like 2 people could like be walking down the street and one of them goes, oh shit, that's Mark Maron. And the other one goes, nah, I don't think it is. And like, you know, I think that's a like funny look at it, but like, I just, I think that level of like, you know, literally the entire world is watching you and your name is a regular trend on the internet. It's just so weird to say. It's just, I think there is an interesting, almost delusional, like sick aura around people that have that desire to be in that spotlight so desperately. And I'm saying this from a place of, it used to be me. Like I used to be addicted to like the idea of being famous. And now it's more just like going back to what I said earlier of like, you know what, like my community, my friends, you know, the queer kids on TikTok and the non-binary folks on TikTok know who I am. And the ones who haven't yet met me on the internet or in person or whatever, like, you know, I'm excited for when we do get to share space. And I just want to be a person who kind of carries a message of like, I'm myself and I love myself. And on the days that I don't, I make active choices that help me to like and understand and love myself even more. And, you know, whether that's through like recovery or through music or through TikTok or through whatever the fuck, you know, I'm just happy to share it, you know, freely, knowing that like I get so much out of the art that I consume. And, you know, literally my entire life is consuming art. I've been into drag since I was like 4. I've been into music since I was like 2. I started taking music lessons. I mean, you know, they started me real young. And because of all that, I think it's just so important that like art be at the forefront of it and like not the like glamour and glitz of it all, because it's really not that glamorous. Like being on set is mostly just standing out of the way and like a mic pack burning your flesh. So it is fun. It's very exciting to do all that, but it's like mostly just like, you know, you deliver your line and then you stand out of the way so Christine Baranski can have her entrance, you know. So
well, I think it's very wonderful like what you do, because you are a public figure, but you are using everything for good. And like you said, I think it's, you know, it's becoming easier to be a queer kid and non-binary and whatever terms people want to use. I think it's so great. We don't have to fit into a fucking box anymore. There is no box. And
Great.
people have the opportunity to see you. And they might be questioning things or wondering, is this okay? Am I doing this right? Is there right? And you're guiding so many people. And I hope that you know how wonderful it is that you exist in this time. And I appreciate that you are so open and honest with everything that you've been through and who you are as a human. Like I feel like a better person knowing you and getting to watch you
thank
every
you.
day on
That's
social.
really
And
sweet.
I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I think like everything that you stand for is so great, because like I said before, people are so afraid or ashamed to talk about what they've been through and what their experience and mental health and being queer. And I think it's great that you are giving so many people this voice and letting other people have a voice as well. So
thank you. That's it's like I get so much out of, you know, queer community, and there's a lot of parts. I'm fortunate to have lived in Chicago where there was already a thriving queer community. I grew up in a very gay neighborhood called Boys Town, and like, you know, worked in New York and was around like gay people like my entire life, like people in my family, people, you know, close with my parents, whatever. And that's a privilege. Like there's not a lot of that in America, in the world in general. And I just like I'm glad that, you know, these platforms that I have can be used for that, because I mean, it was a lot of bitterness after School of Rock. I was like it was very shadowy. It was very dark. I was like, you know, like I definitely, when I was using and drinking a lot, like I had this like goal that I had set for myself to join the 27 Club if I hadn't gotten like mega, you know, famous after School of Rock, and like just like put myself in the 27 Club so I could say, you know, that I was a part of it. But like it's crazy. I mean, I'm well past 27 at this point, so I'm, you know, spoiler alert, I did not get into the club, but like I literally was so drawn to and addicted to that idea of celebrity and notoriety that it kind of just like left a stink on every audition, every piece of art. Everything I was doing was to like quote unquote go viral or like book the job and, you know, buy my parents a house, when it's like, why can't I just do this for me? Why can't I just do this for you? You know, why can't I just do this to tell the story rather than to win an award or to get on the cover of some magazine. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I just think it's such a better place to come from, because like that's when, you know, that's what we're doing here ultimately. Is I hate to be one of those like basic actor bitches who's just like, I really just do it for telling a story, but it is like the very much like, you know, yeah, of course I love sitting in a hair and makeup chair and having, you know, being driven to set in a golf cart, and all of the cool things that come with working in this industry. Like, but really at the end of the day, like I do it because it's fun. I do it because I get to tell stories. I get to try on new characters and, you know, shapeshift and create these people that, you know, inevitably came from me being myself in an audition, just with like added circumstances, right? And I know we're going way over, but I don't mind it. I like y'all. I can talk to y'all forever. Like,
We like you
I'll,
too.
I'll
We
just
like
say
you
like, you know,
We like you too.
yeah. It's just, I think it's so sad. Like people, like you see people on like kids on the internet, young girls, like, you know, putting on this voice and this kind of mask that it's not authentic to them. They put on this like go fry, and it's like and they're trying to be something that they're not, and then like getting so disappointed when they don't get the likes and stuff like that. I'm like, why? Like I understand why, but ultimately it's like my message is like, whatever you're seeking in fill in the blank, people, places, things, alcohol, money, food, fame, relationships, whatever you're seeking in that thing or that idea or that concept, like try to find that deep within yourself. Like you have everything that you need deep within yourself. Like, and if you don't have it within yourself, like the universe has it for you. It's just like, there's a time and a place for when it's going to be given to you. Like, I think that the universe is not something that says no, like no to you. Like it will not just flat out say no. It'll say, the universe will be like, yeah, okay, yeah, absolutely. Or it'll be like, yes, but not yet. Or it'll say, no, I love you too much. Like I love you too much for you to have that thing that you're obsessed with right now or ever. You know, I got real metaphysical
No,
there, but that's
that
just
was
like my
awesome.
theory is
That was
like
awesome.
the universe
I
just
like that a
never
lot.
is like a flat out no. It's like it
like
can
that.
say no, but it's usually no because it loves you too much, right? If
Right.
we're talking
There
about
could be
higher,
right.
I like that.
Exactly. There could be a reason, and maybe the reason is because that's not your journey or your path. And there's another journey. There's so many different paths, right? I mean, there's so many different
yeah.
forks in the road. So
That's
yeah.
why
No, I
that's why
think
they
it's great.
say when I make plans, the universe laughs. Like, you know, and I high key believe in that, because it's like every time I am so addicted to having control over my life and having control over my career. You know, the universe throws something else at me, a curveball that I'm like, I didn't even expect that, but yeah, I'll do that. Like, here's a funny little fucking story I'll tell y'all. I was up for a role, and in my mind it was mine. I was like, this is my character, I am this character. And then a friend of mine who I have like some history with, like we'll just say that, she texts me and she's like, yo, I got called in for this thing, it's hilarious, like did you get called in for that too? And I was just like, I did, yeah, I submitted my tape, blah blah blah. I found out she gets it, which is great. I'm proud of her. I'm happy for her. But of course, the Leo and asshole in me kind of has that arrogant moment of like, what the fuck? That was my role. Like, you know, and being like, what does she have that I don't? And when I get to that place, that's why I talked about like grabbing that like kind of negative thought or that kind of bad choice, like, or I don't want to use bad or negative, but like just that shadow feeling or whatever it is, and being like, okay, like what is that really? That's just like me being like, oh, right, I don't have control over much once I send in the audition, you know, it's done. And then I'm like, you know what? That wasn't my role. That was hers, and good for her. And that's a win for my friend group. That's a win for, you know, her community. And I can't wait to see it. Like, yeah, I'm sure I'll still be a little jealous and bitter when it comes, but it's like, again, that was not my role. And the next day I I was just like, I gotta do some kind of like clearing or something. I like lit a bunch of candles and I did this like abundance, spell that I do every once in a while, which if anyone's interested in learning what that is, they can DM me on Gram or find me on the TikTok. Maybe I'll just post it on TikTok. But I do that spell. I feel a lot lighter. I feel like, that there's like there's no limit. The limit does not exist to
The limit does not
characters that I will play and the roles that I will, fill in this world. And, just because one didn't, belong to me doesn't mean that none of them belong to me. And there's more to come. And then, the next day I book this ad that I'm shooting tomorrow. And this opportunity to participate in something that is geared towards non-binary and queer youth, where I get to play a non-binary character and bring voice to that character, right? And I won't say more because that kind of just gave some stuff away. Like I will be bringing voice to a non-binary character, and it's like that's the role that was mine, right? But at the end of the day, it's like none of it is really even ours. Like it's just like everything is temporary. Everything is like, I don't know. It's this kind of like fluidity thing where it's like nothing is like rigidly, solidly mine. Not even this body, not even this house, especially not this house. I'm in Silver Lake. I can't afford this. But like, I think it's just important that like young actors and people who are new to the industry or people who want to be in the industry know that like it's not your fucking part, it's not your money, it's not your agent, like your agent is not your boss, like like and you're I think just like a vessel for like creation and divine creation, right? And the phone audience is not as important as like the divine audience, right? It's like, who is this actually for? Like, think about that. Anyway, sorry not to get on my little Marianne Williamson high horse, but here we are.
I think it's awesome. And I love the way you think and your perspective. And that's once again what makes you uniquely you. Jude says we need a part 2. So we should definitely do a part 2 because I would love to talk more about.
And again, everyone at home, if you want to hear more of our wonderful guests, it is the Where Are We Now podcast, which will be returning for season 2, but plenty of episodes of season 1 available. Where Are We Now podcast, available on all podcast streaming services.
All podcast streaming services. Don't ever
Absolutely
fucking
fabulous.
forget.
Absolutely fabulous.
Thank you,
Oh my
Liza.
gosh. You guys are amazing. I feel like we need a show. I need to see the Liza and Snape show. Before we let you go, Rivkah, we're going to go over our upcoming guests. Some of them, we have quite a few for the next couple of weeks. So next Tuesday, we have Kyle Davis, who's from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
next Friday, I'm so excited. Paul Zaloom from Beekman's World. Tuesday, March 1st, we have Nicholas from All American Rejects. We also have Burt Ward from Batman. He's the original Robin. We also have Josh V, another musician. We have Tim Russ from Star Trek. We have Dee Wallace. She is the mother from E.T. And then we're welcoming back David Cook next month. And then once again, we need a part 2, Rivkah. I mean, you're phenomenal and be great to pick your brain again.
I think Rivkah could co-host too, for sure.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? For sure. Any of those guests, any of those rockers sound fun, you let us know. We'd love to have
Yeah, if
you
you
back.
ever need a co-host, I'm sometimes around. I'm very. This next couple months is gonna be crazy for me, but like, yeah,
Fair enough.
I'd love to come back. I love you guys, and it's been so fun. Love riffing with you and talking drag and doing crazy, chaotic impressions. Yeah, y'all ever in LA want to do karaoke? I do have a setup, so
Let's do it. I'm looking for a Seymour, so if you're available,
I'm literally right here. Say less.
Perfect.
We'll get you to visit the park if you want to come visit the Transformers too. We'll speak momentarily.
I would absolutely love. I mean, I love Universal. I was there for my birthday. Like that is like half the level.
We can make anything happen you want. No worries.
Oh my god, obsessed. All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been so much fun. And until next week, have a wonderful rest of your weekend. We'll see you guys real soon. Au revoir.
Be good to yourself. Bye.